Hello, welcome back. It's April. How exciting. Here is my chunky stack of journals that we're going to be playing in this month. I just thought I would show you my lineup for this month, what we've got going on here. I've got a few new ones this time that I didn't have last time we did a little journal lineup for the month. So I really wanted to get on here and show you what I am working in currently. So let's get going. First up, I have started back doing my junk planning, retrospective junk planning. So basically what I do in this, I will do a good proper flip through when it's all done, because it's obviously not, but this is going to be basically a whole year in this, just this like school composition notebook type of thing, like it's a grid one, for numeracy, maths, whatever. And I got it really cheap because these are, they're super cheap books, and I just covered it in some craft paper, and just over time I'm going to just stick stuff on it as I decide. But basically what I do is I just grid out a month, really rough. You can see how messy and wobbly my lines are. I did it over on Patreon, so if you're interested in seeing the process of this a bit more, head over there. But basically I just create a month at a glance kind of spread in this big composition book, and then I just stick stuff onto every day after it happens. It's not so much planning as it is like looking back, getting a glance at a month kind of. So that way when, at the end of the year, if I am maybe looking for something in one of my monthly journals, I can sort of flip through and I'll be like, oh yes, I'm looking for that day that I went swimming. Okay, so it was January 19th, and I'm kind of using it almost as like an enormous contents page for all of my monthly journals. Sort of like that. It won't obviously have details about everything. It's basically just one thing that happened on the day to kind of give me an idea. And then I'm adding sort of flips and little spots everywhere. And it's a great way to use up a bunch of my stickers and magazine cutouts and book images, all sorts of things, catalogs, so many things. So I have been just going to town playing with this. I only started this kind of nearer to the end of March, so I'm really retrospectively going back to January and February. I've left a blank spread in between each month, and sort of filling in bits and pieces. March I'm doing better on because it's more current, so you can see like it's pretty full, and that's how I love it. I want it to be super full, heaps for my eyes to just spend ages looking at all the little bits. It's so fun. I really love how this looks. So excited about doing this again. This was inspired, I used to do this ages ago, and it was inspired by Gina from the ReBookery. I don't know if she still does, I'm guessing, but I don't know. She doesn't post a lot of videos these days, but these just really fun just junk planners is what I call them. Retrospective junk planning is what I call this, and I love it. And in these in-between pages I'm going to do kind of collage glue booking. So between each month I kind of want to pick a theme or do something, and then do like a glue booking sort of thing. So I have already gone through and marked out the pages for the whole year. So obviously it's only April 1st, the day that I'm filming this, but I know in 2 days time it's daylight savings. I know the full moon is on the 17th here, so I have like planned ahead of time a tiny bit, but I mostly will go back in and cover stuff up. And yeah, so I have gone through and I've drawn out the calendar page for all of the months of the year, and it goes just a little over halfway in the book. So this is December here, and that is just a little over halfway. And then I've got a bunch of pages at the end, which I'm just going to use for more glue booking. I have seen Journal with Dolly do some really fun, like color themed glue booking pages. And I think I might use the latter half of this book to play with that idea, because it seems so fun to me. So that's my kind of plan with this book. It's going to get very chunky, I imagine. But I'm going to choose probably colors for the last ones, and then maybe more themes. Like this page here, I literally have already decided this is going to be strawberry themed. I had this tiny scrap of strawberries here, and I glued that in, and it had this weird, I found this weird piece of paper that says buy a virtual strawberry, and so I glued that in. So I'm just going to end up filling this page with strawberries of all sorts, and I am excited about that. I don't know about any of the others, but just over the year, as I find strawberry, actually I'd put aside a few here which I wanted to glue in. I'll tuck them into this page, but I'd found a few images from magazines that had more strawberries, and I'm just going to end up filling this page with strawberries, and I'm so excited about that. I see Jennie Mae June is bringing out a printable soon, hopefully with strawberries, and so I'm going to definitely buy that to help fill in this page. So excited. So that is my retrospective junk planner, and that's what I am working on here at the moment. So that one's done. This one you saw last month. This one's just notes again for certain things I'm studying, things that are just in my mind that I need to just like jot down a note about. It's not planning, it's just jotting down notes, and also a little bit of morning page kind of writing. I don't do morning pages all the time, but there is the odd day where I'm like, I just need to dump the stuff that's in my brain out, and so I'll just grab this super cheap notebook and I just dump everything into this one. So that's what this little notebook is being used for. This one I just recently bought. It is just a tiny little A6-ish sized notebook from Typo. I just couldn't say no because of the cover. Pink and red together is just everything. It's my favorite color combination. I love these wonky daisies. Oh, I'm just obsessed with this cover, so I had to buy it, and I have recently got myself a small handbag, like a little crossbody kind of handbag, and I don't like not having a journal with me, like something to just scribble down a note, an address, a phone number, you know, random, whatever. If I hear a conversation and I'm like, oh, I want to write that down, scribble down that note somewhere. So this one's just a tiny little book that I think I'm going to tuck in my little crossbody bag with a pen, so that I've just got one pen, one notebook. Doesn't need to be fancy, it's just to jot stuff down. So that's what I grabbed that one for recently. Here's my planner. You've seen this one many times before. So this is my like bullet journaling planner type of thing. I do a calendar kind of plan, and then I do just lots of planning stuff, lists of things I need to buy, lists of people I want to send mail to, lists of what I'm going to do this day or this week. All goes into here. It's more planning than the other ones are more like just brain dump sort of things. This one is also somewhat of a retrospective planner, but this is the one I use that I just sort of scribble in every day what happened in the day. Just like town, James haircut, bumper cars, mall, looking thinner, feeling good, chicken butter, I don't know what that is, Lammy ink, money lost, mum. So like just like real jotted like notes. It's not anything detailed. It's like just, you know, what it is. Bam, down on here, so that when I go to do my monthly kind of my spread in my journal that I do every day, if I haven't done it on the day, I will have forgotten. So I use this book to write down like bullet point notes of what I did, so that when I come back to getting my journaling done properly, I have notes. That is what I use this for, and I have been really pretty consistent. Like, not every day, but sometimes I actually just journal in my proper journal on the day, and then I don't actually need to write it out again. But overall, I would say I've pretty consistently kept up with it. I didn't do it. This was December. I only started in January. So I would say overall, it's been fairly consistent. And you can see this pen color. That's when I'm going back into my journal and I'm filling it out. As I've written that thing in my journal, I'll mark it. Sometimes I won't go back and finish marking it all off, but just if I've got a huge amount, sometimes I have to like see what ones I haven't written down yet so I can keep going. So I just mark off the ones that I have done. So that's that little one there. This little book is one I made for Sketchbook Revival. So that is going from the end of March through the middle, I think, of April. Maybe early April it finishes, I'm not sure. But it's Sketchbook Revival, and it's just some real like messy art. It was all free. It was an incredible course. I've really been enjoying it. I hate my watercolor skills. They're abysmal. But I haven't done much of it yet. I would like to do some more of the course, but I just haven't quite had the time yet to do as much as I wanted to. But I will keep using this after Sketchbook Revival if I haven't finished it up. I will just sort of do more art journaling on this sort of smaller scale, because this is a lot smaller than my art journal, which I will show you now. This is my regular art journal, and you can see it's definitely a size, you know, a good amount downsized from this. So this is my art journal. I've been using this for a couple of years now, and you might have heard in my last one I was really hoping to try and do more working in this, and I have managed to, in the month of March, do a little more in this art journal, which is so fun. Where were we up to? So I think we'd seen these, but I'd done this side, but this was a page I did in my art journal at some point, which I really enjoyed creating. This little page, I'd already done that one in February, but this one I did here in March. What else have I did this one here in March, and this one I did in March, and I think there's another one. This one here, I'm just going to cover up my journaling because it's a little personal, but this one here I also did in March. This art journal is typically more for me working through some hard feelings, hard emotions, and when I'm, not always, but it quite often will be the place I come when I need to just get something out of me and onto the page and create art from it. So that's what I mostly do in here. So they're a little bit tougher, some of the stuff I'm working through. Sometimes not. Sometimes this one wasn't so tough, but this one was just more about wanting to show more love to people in my life, and just how I wish the world was full of more love. Why is there so much hate? Why is there not more love? And just love is where I want everything to come from me. I don't want to be doing anything from I have to, or anything from I should do this, or like feeling forced into doing things. I want the things I do to come from a place of love and of joy. And so this was kind of me documenting that. It's very, you know, abstract-y, and that's a lot of my art journaling is a little more abstract-y, but that was the message kind of behind this one. And so I think that, you know, so there's a lot of them have a deeper meaning. So that's that one. This one I just got yesterday too, and I'm so excited. So this is a 5-year journal. I've been wanting to do a 5-year journal for ages. Lynn from Lovelynnslife has one, and James Burke, he has one as well. This one's a little bigger than theirs, I believe. This is almost A5. It's a little shorter than A5. So here is my March journal. So you can see here it's just a wee squidge shorter, but it's the same width. Maybe even no, it's about the same width. Actually, no, it is a little bit. It's a little bit wider. A little bit wider and a little bit shorter. So it's a little bit squarer than the standard journals that I use, but I am happy with the size. It's so good. It's just got these pages that have the date, and then each year you can write in the year number and just a few bits about your day. I just think this will be so fun to, you know, in a few years' time, to be able to read what I did this day years back, you know, exactly on the day, and compare how different my life is looking from year to year. I think this is going to be fascinating. I'm so excited about it. So I picked that one up from Typo. It was $20, so it wasn't too bad. I am unsure if I'm going to recover it or leave it as it is. I really love this light purple and yellow combination, but they are kind of a grey purple and grey yellow almost. It's not very vibrant, so I may end up just, you know, kind of covering it in some stickers or something. I don't know exactly what I'm going to do, but I think that will happen over time, just gradually. So that is my journals, except for where's my monthly journal? I haven't made it yet. I haven't made it. I thought we could make it together on camera. So my plan is for April, over on Patreon, I do a theme for each month. So this month's theme here in April is going to be trash. And that is because April 22nd is Earth Day. And I love, during the month of April, I find myself always thinking about Earth Day. And I get a lot more creative with using up trash and how can I recycle and upcycle things and reuse things that I would normally throw out and turn it into something creative. So my plan is to use some trash today and make myself a journal. over the month of March, I have been, excuse me, collecting up a massive box of trash. So it's not, I will not be able to fit it in the screen, but it's got paper bags, some cardstock from packaging. I have some envelopes that came in Happy Mail, some backings of cardstock off of paper pads and things. This was from bread. It's a bit grubby, but I'll clean that off. Yeah, like just a bunch of mail packaging, boxes, food packaging here. Like I've got food packaging, a whole bunch of stuff, and I'm going to try and spend this month seeing what I can do with this trash and what I can turn it into. Can I be creative? Can I make some awesome stuff that I wouldn't maybe have normally made because I wouldn't have thought to use trash? I don't know, but that's the plan. So I thought today we might put together a little journal trying to use trash if we can, and just see what I can make. What beauty can I make out of this trash? So let's get going and make this together. Here I am just going through my box of trash and pulling out all of the papery bits that I think I could potentially use as pages in my April journal. So this little piece was I don't even know, like a contents of some thing that James had bought, and it was maybe like a spray pack thing. I honestly don't know. But he had thrown it out, and so I collected it and decided to use it as a page in my journal. Here is an old paper bag. I think this one might have been from some food or maybe from the pharmacy or something. I can't remember. And then there's another bigger paper bag, which I also don't know what that was from. But I am using the paper from these things because it's perfectly good paper. It's really nice, thick quality paper, actually, this paper bag, and it's all wrinkly and old. I don't know, I just really like it. And it would normally be something that people would just throw out once they take the goodies out of the bag. They would normally just throw away the bag because it's not in use anymore. Not me, no way, Jose. I am going to use this little bag as a page in my journal. How cute. I do think I cut it down and make it not a bag anymore. I just sort of make it two papers and make it into like 2 sets of pages or something for my journal maybe. Yes, here we go, cutting it down. So now we've got more paper for my journal made from this old paper bag. Really, really cool. So folding them in half, and I am folding these pretty messy. You can see the bottom of the bag here. I was having a look at it and thinking about what I could do with it, and I'm going to have to come up with something that I can make with that. We'll see, but I haven't come up with anything yet. So here I'm just trimming the pages down that I can find and putting them together to create something of a signature for my journal. I didn't quite have enough paper trash that I thought I could make up my whole journal out of it. It would end up being only brown paper basically, and I know that I wanted kind of a mix of papers, so I did pull out some of this secondhand paper that I have picked up from op shops. It might not be necessarily trash, but it is secondhand. I do think I use a couple of pieces of copier paper as well in this journal. This is an old book page. This is an old receipt book kind of thing, which I use. I try and use mostly old stuff here. This is another old school book. I don't know exactly what, but I am using that too. Yeah, I'm just using mostly secondhand or trash for this journal to make my pages. I just knew that I didn't have enough actual trash to have enough paper to be able to make my whole of April, and I like having a whole month in one book. That's just the way I journal. It's just my own personal style of journaling. so I wanted to continue that. So I've grabbed out these pages and I'm just going to fold them all up and make them ready for this signature. You can see here I'm just sort of trying to put them in a random order so that they're not the same types of paper next to each other. I just like the kind of mixed up sort of mishmashy look of my journals, so I am just trying to alternate kind of pages between different styles of paper, I guess, so that they have that sort of real junk journal look to it, not having all the same, all the browns next to each other and all the whites next to each other and all the green next to, like that. I want to have everything all muddled up, so that's what I'm going through now. And now I'm going back in and adding these short pages so that I have a real good variation of heights throughout the book as well, and not all the short pages right next to each other. So that's what I'm doing here. I have just so many 6x6 little scrapbook paper pads, and I find them the most difficult size paper to use. So I do like to include a couple of these in my journals just to try and use them up. I make little tiny short pages with them in my journals, and I love the color and prints that it adds into my journal, and I really want to try and use up more of my 6x6 paper. So I added 2 of them into this little journal as well. And then I came across this junk mail envelope, and I knew I really wanted to include this too. So I just trimmed off the ripped edge and then the top and the bottom so that I've got a little crease there in the middle from the bottom of the envelope, and that is going to turn into the fold for our paper, and it has that window on it, and I love having that little window in there to add a little peep through to the next page on that page. And then I also found that other little piece of junk mail that had come in the mail recently and thought I would just sort of include that in there too. It's just really uninteresting junk mail, which I will end up covering up. See, I accidentally cut off the envelope, the bottom of the envelope here. I will probably seal it back up potentially when I get to that page in the journal when I'm actually using it, because I was so annoyed that I'd cut that off. I was trying to trim it up and just so silly. But oh well. Here I found this piece of packaging. It was like the backing off of a paper pad, I think, and I decided it's really, really thick. It probably was too thick for the job that I gave it of journal cover here, but I decided I was going to use that anyway and create my cover, like the base of my cover, out of this really thick backing chipboard almost cardstock. Here I'm going through my little capsule bin for April. So I started last month with this idea where I put aside just bits of ephemera, 55 pieces to be exact, of ephemera, and then my goal is to use it all up by the end of the month. This is just a way I am trying to stop myself from hoarding every lovely thing that I own and then just buying more lovely bits and never using any of them. I have so many pieces of ephemera, and so I really wanted to use some up. So I put 55 pieces in a box, and then by the end of the month I have to have used those pieces up. That's just my rule. Or as many as I can, but ideally everything. So I managed to succeed at that last month, and I found it really, really good. I was really successful with using up more pieces that I wouldn't normally have used. So definitely doing that again this month. This little girl with her journal, oh my gosh, so cute. I'm pretty sure that was by Doodlesdo, and I got it in 2020 and I've just been hoarding it. It had a little calendar on the bottom, but I cut the calendar off because obviously the 2020 calendar is no longer relevant to me. But I decided to use her as a little like focal image on the front of my cover here. She's so cute with her little journal and her washi tape and her pens. So cute. So I wanted to include that little piece on the front cover here as a little focal image, and I'm just using a bunch of my scraps up to sort of cover up the brown cardstock that I've got going on here. You may be able to see sort of like a colour palette that's sort of happening here. A lot of yellows, oranges, reds. There are obviously other colours as well, but a lot of warm tones anyway, that I'm using mostly on this cover. And that is because here in New Zealand it is autumn and it's my favourite season, and I really just want to celebrate that with my journal. So I am grabbing out all the bits of scrap paper that really remind me of autumn, just either in their colours or their theme of like what's on them. I just love using up my scraps. I loved using up that colour swatch piece that I added on the front cover that you saw before, with the squares, the scribbly crayon squares. I love adding that in to my cover. I love whenever I make swatches to just cut them up and use them as collage fodder. I think that they're so fun. And then there was a scrap that I had from another project which just had those beautiful yellow flowers. Oh, I love them. I think they look so good. So this is a very typical way of covering my own journals. I often will rip up scrap paper and then stick all the scrap paper down and like ripped up bits and then add a focal image, and that will be the cover. This little catalogue is also some junk. So this was a catalogue that my mum or sister was sent in the mail, and once they expire, the catalogues expire for buying, flowers, they let me have them, which I'm always very excited about, and I tear them up and use all of the flower pictures as collage fodder. So this is another way of using up trash. When you get catalogues in the mail, you can often find ways to tear it up, whether it is actually nice pictures like of flowers or whatever you like, or often I just find that I can use sort of like textures and backgrounds as collage fodder as well. So there's lots of ways you can use old magazines and catalogues, and I think they are great things to add to your collection rather than just throw out. So that's a little tip for you. I'm sure you probably already do that though, but old catalogues can have some really great bits and pieces in them. This is a fun printable from Jennie Mae June, and I use these all the time. I really love the strips on the side. I just think that they're so stunning. So I use one of these little strips down the edge of this little like astrology kind of print thing, and I use it kind of as the like just a strip that I put down the spine a little bit. It's just paper. It's not going to give it really any strength. I just really like the way it looks adding something onto the spine. I often use fabric, but I didn't this time. I just used this little paper scrap that I had left over from that printable, and man, I love them. I just think they're so pretty. Getting our focal image stuck down now. I used double-sided tape for this because it was quite a thick piece and I didn't think glue stick would probably hold it. And now I did use glue stick just for this little plant piece because that was on a lot thinner paper, but I just wanted to be really sure with that thicker piece there. Now I am wanting to just add a teeny tiny bit more up in that white spot at the top. I just felt like it had something missing there, so I just add a little bit more paper up the top and trim that back. And then I think that is about the cover, the front part anyway of the cover, all complete. I just wanted to add a little label sticker to the front to just write the month on. So I ended up using this green one, I think. I thought that the green one really matched well with some of the green around the cover. And I just wrote April 2022 with my little stamps that I have here. And I think that looks so, so cute. Last thing to do was to bind it, so I just used the 3-hole pamphlet stitch, just a really standard one. If you don't know how to do that, have a look on YouTube. There's heaps and heaps of good tutorials on it. I have not shared that. And I think that that is about the end, guys. I really hope that you've enjoyed this video. Big shout out to my patrons who are supporting me. I just am incredibly grateful for all the support. And I will see you guys again very soon in my next video, which will be coming out next week. Hope you guys have enjoyed this one. Bye!